And so I just maxed out a credit card and I was like, dude, I'm just going for it.
Today, I'm joined here with one of my favorite clients, Brent Erickson out of Dallas.
Like, that's probably one of the best questions I ask in the beginning, to really get their guard down and open them up for sure.
Gotcha.
Then literally the next day, they're like, hey, what do you want to use for your keywords? I was like, somebody burning something in here? Like, I'm literally going to make $100,000 this month. So happy I was able to have that call with Joe for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay.
I got the itch again. And so I was like, dude, I love closing people over the phone. Dude, I just love it.
How did you develop the skill of sales?
Sales was not something in my vocabulary at all. Like, not even a little bit. Not since I was a kid. I was actually super shy in high school. Like, anybody that says you have to be born with it is lying to you. Like, it's definitely something that can be developed for sure.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Benjamin, and welcome to the Bolt Deals Podcast. Our goal here on this podcast is to share actionable insights from successful wholesalers as to how to start and scale a successful wholesaling business. Today, I'm joined here with one of my favorite clients, Brent Erickson out of Dallas. Brent, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I appreciate you coming out all the way from Dallas, taking a weekend to spend time with us. But I really want to share, or I really want you to share where you started, because you told me right before this podcast that you came from doing power lines. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that, how you transitioned into what you did after that, and then eventually real estate. And what's the goal afterwards?
Yeah, so just like you said, or we were talking about earlier, came from 8 years in the power line industry. So
Okay.
It's kind of funny too. So the way I first started doing power lines, I was working for a company out in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I was making like $2,000 a month is what I was making. And so one of the guys that I went to college with, he called me, he's down in Texas, and he was making as much as I was in like a week. Like what I was making a month, he was making in a week.
Oh.
And so I kind of did like the Wolf of Wall Street thing. I was like, dude, show me you're hiring, and show me that you're making that much money, and I'll drive down there. And so he's like, yeah, we're hiring. It's a small company. I talked to the guy that was running the show, and I quit my job and I moved down there like 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always kind of been like that, where I'm just like jumping into things, going full force. But started to not like the power lines, didn't really like the goals. Like everybody they were content with building power lines and doing construction for the rest of their lives, right? And being surrounded in that debt and that bad lifestyle. And so was trying just the way to get out of it. I found it through wholesaling.
Okay. How'd you find out about wholesaling?
Yeah. So I would listen to the Bradley podcast basically every day. I remember we had a job in Hurst, Texas, which is like in that DFW area. It was about a 45-minute drive to work. And so every day I had that podcast on, whether I was going to do drop shipping or freaking, one day I was a deed hunter. One day I was going to buy, 1,000 units. Okay. And then finally one day I heard Naaman Taylor, who was local to Fort Worth. Yeah. And he basically, or I hit him up through Instagram. He responded, told me to meet him out at one of his flips. And then I ended up just working for him. So I ended up doing acquisitions for him for about 9 months or so. Great sales trainer, learned a ton from him. Called probably 200 calls a day on a single line dialer. So from January of basically the year I started with until about May or June, I mean, I've had like 30,000 calls. So I mean, ton of reps. And then that just kind of started my journey into wholesaling, was through Naaman and Certified Closing.
Was Naaman Taylor's wholesaling company your first sort of entry into sales?
Yeah.
Or did you do that at the power line business?
No, so I was actually the guy doing the work, right? I was up in the buckets. We did the helicopter work. Sales was not something in my vocabulary at all. It's not even a little bit. Not since I was a kid. I was actually super shy in high school. So anybody that says you have to be born with it is lying to you. Like, it's definitely something that can be developed for sure.
How did you develop the skill of sales?
Just through the reps, and really, I mean, I probably can't thank Naaman Taylor enough for it. I mean, just the training that he gave me, and then the guidance that we had every day. Like, we worked in a very small office, so I got to rub shoulders with him every day. He was very successful in the wholesaling. So just being with him every day, all the phone calls I made, and then just my dedication that I had to make something work. I would say that contributed a lot to it. Yeah.
Do you feel like if somebody is starting out wholesaling, they want to get into it, they have zero experience in real estate as a whole, zero sales experience, do you feel like they should just go out, start their own company and learn sales themselves, go through the pitfalls, or should they go work for somebody, learn under them?
Man, I like the way that I did it. I'm probably a little biased, just because I know how much you need to spend in marketing and ad spend to get some of that going. If you really want to like take off, if you don't want to go through the cold calling, you don't want to be skip tracing lists and stuff, which I think is kind of a slower way to get started. Go work for somebody, go learn how they do it, learn the game, learn what the contracts look like, learn how to talk to people on the phone through somebody else's leads. Like don't burn up your own money trying to learn how to do this. Do it on somebody else's dime, learn how to do it. And then once you think you got it down, you've done the reps and you feel comfortable, go ahead and start your own thing. Actually, I learned that Robert Winsley. So we went down and I had a day with Naaman where we just got done working out. And he would do this to me all the time. So I'm in my gym clothes, didn't bring any extra clothes with. And he's like, "Hey, you ready to go to an event?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're going to Investor Field today. Like hop in, like you're driving."
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we hopped in and then we ended up going to a dinner, and it's kind of funny. Everybody was kind of going around the table, talking about like net worth and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get to me and I'm just like, "Oh, I just got out of Powerline 6 months ago." And they're like, "Dude, look at the table you're sitting at. Like you were building Powerline 6 months ago, and look at this amount of net worth you're sitting around right now. Like this is unbelievable." And so Robert was just like, "Dude, stay in the acquisition role as long as you can, learn as much as you can. And then if you feel later to get out of it, then do your own thing, but stick in that first."
Do you feel like being around that table of other highly successful people, did that motivate you or did that sort of scare you and shy you away?
I think I felt a little out of place at the time.
Wow.
What one might have been just because everybody's all dressed all nice and I was in my gym clothes.
Oh, yeah.
So but I think the other thing was just like, I came from a super small town, right? So the people that I've been around, they make enough money to buy them a case of beer for the weekend. And then so to be sitting at a table, like I definitely felt out of place, but at the same time, it was like, dude, I've been out of Powerline for 6 months and look at the table I'm sitting. What can I do 10 years from now, right? And so I would say it was a little bit of both. Like, yeah, a little intimidating at first, but then from there it was just like, dude, like the sky's the limit from here. Like, this is crazy.
Was that jump from doing power lines to learning about wholesaling and going to real estate, was that a hard jump for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe not so much learning because I think I'm a pretty quick learner when it comes to, at least with sales. Like I caught on to it very quick.
Yeah.
What was more hard than that was I was by myself. Like I have no family down here. The only family I had was in power lines, and they had no interest to do what I was doing, right? Okay. Or just anything different. Like they were just cool doing the construction thing, whatever. I tried to get them all to come with me. I'm like, dude, this is like, there's an opportunity here, right? So by myself, don't really know anybody, and I had built my lifestyle because nobody teaches you how to manage your money. Going from $0 to I was making like 15 to 20,000 a month doing power lines. Okay. And so the more money you made in it, the more trucks you bought and the boats you bought, and you buy a little bit nicer place. And so now I'm up to like 7,000 to 8,000 a month in bills, and now I'm not making any money. So that part was really tough. It was like scary. It was like watching my bank account drain every day. I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest part was just trying to trust the process and know like, hey, there is going to be something on the other side of this. Once I learn the skills, once I start, getting some contracts, like they'll close. So it was just mainly not giving up, I guess, really, even with, like thinking that I'm about to go bankrupt and whatever. I was like, dude, I'm about to lose my car. I'm going to lose my apartment. And, I'm not telling anybody this, right? I don't want my parents to be worrying at me and stuff like that. And so the hardest part was probably just sticking it out, I would say, for sure.
Gotcha. And it looks like it's been worth it for you so far, would you say?
Definitely been worth it for sure.
Let's talk about what you've done in the wholesaling space so far, right? You worked with Naaman Taylor as an acquisitions manager.
Yep.
Walk me through what was your experience? What did you learn working under him?
I would say the main thing was really just the sales, like the sales process, running through the script, sticking to it, never judging a lead, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very easy when you see a lead come in and you look it up on Zillow and it's a super nice house and you're like, God dang, I know, like,
Yeah.
they're going to tell me they want full price and they're going to tell me to kick rocks and this and that. But every once in a while you call one of them, we call it taking them to the mat, which is basically taking them through the whole sales process to the point where you give an offer. And you'd be surprised how many times where they might just take it, right? So don't go through it because you're not asking the right questions either. So if you go into it thinking that they're not going to take your offer and it's too nice and they're just going to end up listening with a realtor, that's going to show in your conversation with them.
Yeah.
And so just not prejudging the lead, doing a full rep every single time so that when you do get to that person that's ready to sell, you're ready for it.
What sets your sales process out, or what do you think contributes to, you have such a pretty high close rate, right? You have a pretty high close rate. And what do you think contributes to that? What makes a good sales script?
Man, I would say just asking the right questions. Because if the seller doesn't feel heard and you're just saying like, hey, you have to take this offer, or you're how do you word it? Just like you're trying to tell them like how great your company is and why you're better than everybody. Great, everybody else does that, right? But if you can just truly understand their needs and try and solve their problem, by the end of it, you're just more of a customer service really than anything that's what they always used to tell me. They're like, Brett has the most customer service type calls to where it doesn't even sound like that was a sales call. Like he just truly just helped somebody over the phone. And I would get the most calls back too. So like, let's say they weren't quite ready, at that time, 4 months on the road, they would call into certified closing. They're like, hey, is Brett here? Like we talked to him 4 months ago. We want to move forward. Like there was nobody else getting those phone calls at the office.
Yeah.
So I would just say that basically just coming from a good, basically it's a 7-step process going through it. And there's always hitting every single bullet point, throughout it and just come from a place of helpfulness.
Can you walk us through that process? So let's say a lead comes in. Can you walk us through what happens?
Yeah. So anybody that's probably followed anybody in wholesaling, you want to get to that lead within 5 minutes if you can, right? There's like a weird stat. It drops like 80 or 90%. Is that what it is when you?
Yeah, 70%.
Yeah, 70% if it's not within the first 5 minutes. So just getting onto them right away. And then it's just a pretty easy intro. One of my favorite questions that I ask in the beginning when I'm setting the expectations is kind of like a Jeremy Minor. I don't know if you...
I love it. Yeah. Jeremy Minor has done a lot for me.
Yeah, so I just try to basically take anything he said and make it say house. And so I'm just telling him, hey, the first part of this call really is just to figure out what you've done in the past to sell a home. And really what you're looking to get out of working with us, like what attracted to you about our ad. I just want to see if we're even a good fit to work together. And so they're just like, oh, this guy's not trying to force an offer down my throat. Yeah. Like he doesn't even know if I'm a good fit to work with them. Like, what's going on here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's probably my favorite part. Like that's probably one of the best questions I ask in the beginning to really get their guard down and open them up for sure.
Gotcha. So that's just the intro. How do you go into like qualifying them, making sure they're right fit, and more so set yourself apart from every other wholesaler?
Yeah. So from there, I'm trying to eliminate everything up front. So I'm asking them like, okay, so how did you sell a home in the past? And they're like, oh, I used a realtor or I tried to sell it by myself. And so from there, that's when I'm asking the qualifying questions. I'm like, okay, what did you like about that? Well, and then, they're just like, oh, well, it was fine. And then, they're still being a little short with me. I go, okay, how about this? If on a scale 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, what would you rate your experience? And they say a 6. Okay, what would make it a 6 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10? I'm like, oh, well, the damn realtor, they let everybody walk with their muddy shoes on through the house, and I had to pay them a ton of commissions, and they wanted me to fix up the house and this, that, the other thing. And so now I'm building up my ammo, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, okay, didn't like showings, didn't like the commissions, didn't like, having to make the repairs. And now I'm building all the ammo I need.
Yeah.
So at the end of my call, they can't use any of that. They can't use any of that against me. Right?
Yep.
They can't at the end when I make my offer. Oh, I'll just listen with the realtor. Because I'm like, hey, Mr. Seller, at the beginning of the call, we talked about you listening with the realtor, and you said you didn't really like that experience because of X, Y, and Z. I go, are you wanting to go through that again? And so any ammo I can build in the beginning so that they can't use it at me at the end is just like basically you're just pre-eliminating all the objections up front. So I think what I do a lot different than all people that probably aren't closing 1 out of 8, like I am right now, is I'm asking all the questions up front, everything I can up front. So then at the end, they don't come up, right? They're not saying, Can I talk? I got to talk to my wife. I got to think about it. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm eliminating all that stuff up in my setting expectations and qualifying questions for sure.
In your opinion, because I'm a big like Jeremy Minor person. Like,
Yeah, I love Jeremy Minor.
I love Jeremy Minor a lot as well. He's done tremendous works for me because to me, the way I look at it is like sales is simply just a way of communication.
Yeah.
It's persuasion and influence, and going through great sales training in general has helped me obviously communicate with people better, speak on events, podcast better. So my question for you then becomes like, Jeremy's very like pretty dynamic. Yes, he has a script and a process that he follows, but in your opinion, you're fully aware that there are people in this space that only like stick to the script, right?
Yeah.
Versus being dynamic where you're on the fly. So in your opinion, what do you feel like is better for your process, and what should somebody do starting out? Should they follow a script? Should they learn frameworks and be more dynamic and be themselves? What do you think?
So that's a good question. The way I started was just sticking to the script. One, because if you don't have any sales experience and you instantly just start trying to be dynamic and you're like trying to give it your own little razzle dazzle, like you still don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're probably still scared to be on the phone, which is totally natural. Like the first calls I make, I'm like, then hang it up because you're too scared.
Yeah.
You don't even want them to answer the phone, right?
Yeah.
So I would say stick to a script to start, just to get your feet wet, because you're just going to have to cut your teeth somehow, right?
Yeah.
Stick to the script, and then from there, then learn to get a little dynamic with it, because I call it getting inverted on your script, right? So you might get to a part where they answer the phone and you're like, hey, you filled out my form at 123 Street, you got 5-10 minutes to talk, and they might just instantly jump into, the house looks like shit, there's no floors in it, there's holes in the wall, and then so now this would be like number 3 for me, or number 4 on my script is condition and repairs.
Okay.
And we missed the intro part. We missed setting expectations. We missed pain and motivation. And so now I'm inverted, right?
Yeah.
So when you first start, making your calls, that's kind of scary. You're like, like I messed up on my script. Now what do I do, right?
Yeah.
And so you miss a lot of questions. So it's just, okay, don't try to instantly force it. Hear them out, right? Just be quiet. Let them talk about their house. Let them talk about their problems. Hear them out. And then like, hey, we really jumped right into this, right? Right, Ben? Like, hey, you told me a lot about your house, and I don't even know if we're a good fit to work together yet. I go, have you ever sold a home before? And now I'm right in setting expectations. I'm right back into the beginning of my script. I'm asking them what they've done in the past. Do they want to fix it up themselves? And they're like, I don't got any money to fix it up. And so, but to start out, definitely go by the script. You're going to get inverted, but try your best at the beginning. Not to do anything too crazy, because you're going to be learning so much. Like you're going to learn these cool one-liners, you're going to learn these cool rebuttals, you're going to want to use it all. Yeah. But you don't know really the right places to use them. So stick to the script to start, and then once you've made 1,000 calls, or once you're starting to feel comfortable, whatever that takes you to start feeling comfortable on the phone, then start throwing your own little razzle dazzle, in your little dynamic to it. So that's what my advice would be. So
you mentioned understanding the seller's situation, what they're going through, understanding their property and information. How do you go about the hardest part, which is about actually asking what they want for their property, how they came up with that number? Because at the end of the day, if the numbers don't work, you can't really turn this into a deal. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, so I like to I forget the actual terminology for it, but I either call it, like, sometimes it's an emotional seller, or it could be an analytical seller. Yep. And so if you're talking to one of the analytical sellers,
personality type.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so if you're talking to that analytical seller and they're just like, dude, I don't want to talk about like, they literally might say that, like, dude, why are we talking about this when you're supposed to get an offer on my house? Yeah. Okay, great. Perfect. Hey, that's so awesome, Ben. Glad that's the biggest concern out of any of my sellers I talk to, is how much they want for the house. And I cannot wait to get you paid. Yeah. I go, typically you can expect an offer coming from an investor and then give a range. Because now you're not the bad guy. It's all the other investors. So give them a range from 60 to 70%, because then you get to be on the high end of that, right? Because that's what you want it to be at, right? So let's say the number is, you're probably going to expect an offer from an investor from other companies coming in from 100,000 to 130. And he's going to be like, well, mother effer, I got to be at 175, and now Yeah. And you're just like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that. That's just what you could expect an offer coming in from other investment companies. I still need to know a little bit more about what you got going on with the property before I can make you an offer. And now he's at 175 and you're not the bad guy. You didn't offer him that. Exactly. And so that's one good way to get the offer out of him. Or I used to read this book called I think it's called like the Sandler way of asking questions.
I've never heard of it.
And he talks about using like your kid voice to get people in like a playful state of mind.
Wow.
And so I would say something like, "Hey, if you could wave a magic wand, Ben, and you could get any price you wanted for your home, what do you feel you could get for your home based on these repairs and you needed to sell?" And man, if I could get 180, and so that's just a way that I use just to get the number out of them, and then I'll put them on my hold because I do the underwriter deal and whatever. And so I'll say, "Hey, can you wiggle for me at all from that 180?" And you'd be surprised how many times they'll just price drop themselves 20 grand.
Yep.
And so, "Hey, Ben, if I can get you that 160,000, you're definitely ready to go today, right?"
Yeah.
And so I get the commitment from them. They say yes. I go, "Hey, I'm going to put you on a quick hold, and I'm going to let Aaliyah," she's the one that used to be our actual underwriter, so I still to this day use her name. "I'm going to let Aaliyah know you're definitely ready to go if I can get that approved for you." So then now I'm off my hold, and they basically feel like they're committed if I get that 160,000 for them, that they're ready to go.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay. And then you just go for the close. So it sounds like your entire sales process is a one-call close.
Right. I would prefer, yeah, if I can do it that way, absolutely. Just because the second they get off the phone and they get away from you, you don't know if they're going to get back on the phone again.
Gotcha. I want to go back and talk about personality types, right? Because to me, going through NEPQ, one of the biggest things I've learned is that you have to sell to different people a different way based on their personality, like you mentioned. So how do you determine what type of personality they are? Because I know somebody, like, if they're wanting to skip the emotional stuff and go straight to numbers, we identify them as analytical. But how do you determine if someone is like, whether or not they're like right in the middle, right? They're a little bit emotional, they're a little bit analytical. How do you deal with those people?
Yeah, I think it's I would say that's probably just going to go back to more so my beginning questions and getting them to open up. Because you're right, there is gonna I feel like I know exactly the type of person you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily like just trying to jump to the offer, but they're still being tough to get them to open up. But it's just really just trying your best to keep asking the questions. It's awkward. It's super awkward to keep asking them. Like, so one of the things that I use the most is like, "Hey, when you say this, what do you mean?"
Clarifying.
Yeah. So I can say that to anything. So you tell me, I'm like, "Hey, why are you selling the house, Ben?" And you say, "I'm looking to downsize." And so I'll be like, "Ben, when you say downsize, what do you mean?" And they're just like, "What the fuck do you think I mean?" They're like, "I'm trying to get a smaller house." And I'm just like, man, that can mean so much to so many different people. I'm like, I just want to know if you have another place to go to. Like, are you trying to get an apartment? Because we might be able to help you find your next spot.
Yeah.
And so you kind of divert a little bit. And then that question might come in like, "Oh, dude, I'm in a wheelchair and I haven't been upstairs for 2 years." You know what I mean? And so there's a super like simple questions you can ask like that to deal with those type of people, I think. And I think what it comes down to, can't be afraid to keep digging, right? And if it gets to the point where they finally do actually get upset, then you're probably working with somebody more on the analytical side than the emotional side.
Yeah.
And then I'm just jumping right. Then I'm really, my whole tone's changing. We call it going from like the neighborhood friendly Spider-Man to now I'm Batman, right? And so so I'm just like, I'm like all happy and friendly, and then there's like, "Dude, give me a friggin' offer for." Yeah, absolutely. And then now we're just talking numbers because that's what they want. And so from there, if we're talking to an analytical guy, I'm going to give them basically an analytical approach to what it's going to look like probably selling with a realtor. So, because that's the way they're probably going to want to go, right? They're just like, "Dude, I need the most for my house. Screw it. I'm going to go with the realtor." Okay, absolutely. A lot of people like going with realtors. And I'll probably tell them like, "Hey, did you know that 80% of realtors last year actually didn't sell a home?" So I'm like, I just want you to know the type of people you're going to right now. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to go to, but I also want to break down to you what it might look like if we sell your house with a realtor. And so I go, "What do you think you could list it for?" And now, so make it their idea, right? I'm not telling them the price what I think they can list at. They make that idea. So let's say that number's 300,000. So they're gonna list it for 300. I'm like, perfect. I think your house definitely could be worth 300,000, but what it might sell for is completely different. And so I go, "Do you mind?" And then ask for permission. It'd be easy to say yes to. "Do you care if I break this down for you on what this might look like?"
Would it offend you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so I'm just like, "Hey, would you mind me breaking the numbers down?" And so I used to be a realtor. I had my license for 2 years, so I had access to a lot of the numbers and things like that. So typically houses were selling for about 90 to 92% of list price. So I would say, hey, look, you might list this for 900 or 300,000, but numbers show this is not me. This is just what the statistics show. So I can't change the numbers, right?
Yeah.
They're typically selling about 92% of list price. And so I'm like, hey, go ahead and pull your phone up for me. Make it real for them, right? So type in the number. So they're going to do the math with me, right? I'm going to make them either write it down or get their calculator out. And so pull your phone up for me. Can you do that for me real quick, Ben? Well, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm on it right now. I'm like, yeah, pull your calculator up. And so like type in 300,000, multiply that by 0.9. You know, we're just going to do safe measures, do 0.9.
0.9.
And so now we just got their house to 270,000, right? Or whatever that number is, 90% of 300.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, okay. And they're like, oh, so that's what I'm going to net. I'm like, oh, we still got realtor fees. So you can go ahead and factor about 8% in realtor fees and commissions on this. And so now I'm buying equity, right? I'm going to continue to buy their house down, right?
Yeah.
And so take 8%, go ahead, type that 270 number you got, go ahead and multiply that by 0.08 and let me know what you get. So I'm making them do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now whatever number they got there, I'm like, go ahead and subtract that off of 270. And they're like, oh, they're like, you can feel it. Like you can feel the emotion, right? Like, oh, I'm at 250. I'm like, they're like, so I'm going to get 250. I'm like, oh, we're not done yet. You know, I'm like, typically right now we're kind of shifting to a buyer's market. You're not going to get a house that's anywhere from 10 to 15,000 in seller concessions. Like everybody's asking for seller concessions right now. And so now we're at 240, right? And I go, you also got to remember the audience that we're selling to, right? The typical audience we're selling to is a FHA or conventional loan. And a lot of people, they're using FHAs to buy your property because they don't have enough money to do conventional. They need to do that 3.5% down. And so I go, you told me your property needs a new foundation and this and that. Are you willing to make those repairs? So let's say it comes up on the report for them to be able to get approved for their loan that you need to fix this $10,000 foundation. Are you willing to make these repairs? And so now we're down to like 230. And I'm like, okay, average days on market is like 60 to 90 days in your area. We got a $2,500 mortgage, another $7,000 in mortgage payments and utilities and whatever to list it. And now I got them down to like 210.
And then you hit him with the pain point of like, are you okay waiting 60 days to do all that?
Yeah, I'm like, right now we're $20,000 off and you got to wait 90 days just to hope that somebody can close on your property. And so now there's like, oh God, you know, I just took them through a whole roller coaster and made them do the work themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm pivoting when I have somebody either in the middle or analytical. I'm asking those questions in the beginning. And then I'm not doing really a whole lot on emotion because they just want to, like, this is like somebody that's an engineer or they're an accountant or whatever that looks like. Those are the type of people I'm running through an analytical approach to close them on either a cash offer or I'm going to anchor with the cash offer and then I'm going to pivot to a novation or a concierge service, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that I it's evident now how you're closing so well, right? Mm-hmm. Now I see how, right? Instead of just following a script. In your opinion, what differentiates a great closer, someone like yourself, versus an average closer where they're just doing, you know, their lead to contract is not as high as yours?
Mm-hmm. I would say probably not either one, not making enough calls. You got to put a ton of reps in. You got to practice a lot. I'm on a ton of different trainings every day. Like I'm a part of like Grant Cardone's training too. Oh. So every 9 o'clock I'm hopping on that, doing role playing. You just got to practice, man. You got to practice. And then you got to have some sort of confidence too. Right. And so once you start closing deals, you got to like harvest that because there's not, you know, you might go a week or two without a deal sometimes, you know, especially if you're working acquisitions. I went through that all the time where 1 week I closed 4 and then I go without a week. And so just not getting in your own head, like, dude, 2 weeks ago I closed 4 contracts and I thought I was top shit, right? Like I thought I was you couldn't stop me. Like I could do anything. Yeah. And so just keeping a good state of mind and then, not prejudging leads and just always making sure that you're hearing the seller out. I think that's going to be your biggest difference.
How do you overcome those dry streaks?
Man, I don't.
I guess I'll rephrase that. How did you overcome dry streaks in the past?
Right now I haven't really had a whole lot of. I got
that's why I want to
deals.
Exactly.
That's all the good leads. But in the past, if we ever had I really had a good team around me too. So Naaman, I thought, was a great leader in the sense that if we ever had a time where we were down, then he would be like, hey, let's look over your calls, or hey man, I'm coming into the bullpen today. I'm making calls with you guys all day long. And so just making it fun like that when you're down and having good people around you was definitely easy, or made it easier. Right now it's just me, like calling from my apartment or an office or whatever. And so fortunately right now I haven't really had much of a dry spell, but you just got to do whatever you can to stay positive. I don't know what else to say other than that. It's tough. Like, it's not easy. That's for sure.
Absolutely. You mentioned Naaman, who was, your trainer and a leader with the company that you were working under him for. So in your opinion, what do you feel like makes a good sales leader or sales trainer? And ultimately, what do you think made him a good leader?
Man, you would have never, if we were ever having a bad month or a good month, you would never know the difference.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, we're always killing it. Like, I feel like never putting a bad face on, always high energy, always in a good mood. Like, you would never know probably if he ever had anything going on at home.
Yeah.
Because he came to the office smiling, making everybody laugh, bringing great energy. And I would say that's what really makes a great leader. And it was never like a threat. Like, hey man, you didn't get enough contracts this week. Like, if you don't have 2 contracts by next week, you're fired. Or just like, how do we help? Like, it was always coming from a place of helpfulness. Always there for everybody, and willing to get into the bullpen with you too. Like, not just say that he could close deals. Like, man, when I'm on the phone, I'm closing 1 out of 8, or I'm closing 1 out of 4. Like, why are you at 1 out of 15? Like, hey, I'm going to call with you guys today. I'm going to see what's going on and how I can and help you out. So that's one thing I would learn from Naaman, is he always in a good mood, never casted any doubt, and just really brought great energy to the team.
Absolutely. So you worked for Naaman, learned a lot from him, and then you started your own, right? You parted ways. Why did you, I guess, part ways with him?
So we didn't necessarily part ways in the sense that I was like, oh, I'm just ready to go out on my own. I think I was when that happened, because he decided to partner with that roofing company, with Miller Storm.
Yeah.
And so basically we just kind of shut down the wholesaling operation. I went to go do door-to-door sales, which I also think helped with my closing on the phone. I mean, when you first start making the calls and you got to offer your first person $50,000 for their $200,000, $150,000 house, and you're scared what they're gonna say, go knock a few doors and get told to fuck off at the door a few times. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier to hear that over the phone. Yeah. So I thing for 6 to 8 months or so. Didn't do bad at it. I had quite a few months, where I was, top 3 guys or top 5 guys at the company. Just wasn't my passion. I didn't like it. And on another thing too, it takes so long to get paid there. I was really starting to run out of money.
Okay.
I was like, dude, I need to make something shake here. Yeah. And so when I decided to start my company, I mean, dude, I was dirt broke, like only like 7 months ago. When I went with you guys, or I guess that was when I went with you guys 7 months ago, but I started my LLC. I basically prepaid 3 to 4 months on a credit card of rent, and I bought $10,000 worth of leads from between Lead Zolo and Property Leads. Okay. And so I just maxed out a credit card, and I was like, dude, I'm just going for it. And I ended up closing. I didn't close, not 1 out of 8 like I'm doing with y'all, but I was like 1 out of 15 or so with them, and had great return, pretty decent return with them. Got some money building up, and I was like, dude, I miss doing the wholesaling. Like, I got the itch again. And so I was like, dude, I love closing people over the phone. I love like, dude, I just love it. And so I was just like, man, I'm kind of getting sick of the roofing thing. And then that's when I was like, okay, now I need to figure out, I'm good at closing people. I'm good at doing the wholesaling thing. I need consistent leads to get to where I want to go. And that's when I'm like, let's see what this PPC is all about. And that's when I started doing like Upwork and trying to interview people. And then I started seeing I think I said that in my testimonial. Yeah. I kept seeing your, can you see me?
Yeah. Aaron came up with that, and it was one of our best performers.
Yeah. So I kept seeing that, and I finally ended up doing like the click on it, book a call, whatever. And I cannot speak more volumes about Joe in the conversation that we had. I remember, like, dude, I wish this call was recorded, because I'm like,
want it?
Huh?
Do you want the recording?
Yeah, it was so good. Like, just the questions that he asked. And I mean, yeah, it's a sales call too, right? But like, you could tell Joe was sincere on like wanting to help me. And I think that's what makes a great salesperson too. And I think that's what helps me when I'm on calls. I generally want to help these. Yeah, I want to make money, but yeah, I want to help these people out too. And once I got the consistent leads, now it's just basically been history.
When you say the call with Joe, because I haven't fully listened to the call, I just heard, conversations with Joe, but can you sort of walk us through what that call was like?
Yeah.
Or what you remember from the call?
I just remember how low pressure it was.
Oh.
Like, it was not. I've been on some other calls where they're just like trying to hard close me. I mean, like pressing on my neck, like, dude, you got to go with this. Like, why not? And Joe was just so the other way. It was like, when you do the push pull thing.
Yeah.
And when he did that, he's like, dude, I think you should just go with the other company. He literally said that. And I was like, how you do that? And I was just like, okay, I will. I did not necessarily like that. But I was like, okay, well, that made me feel good. I was just like, he thinks that I should try him. Like, that seemed very sincere. And so I was not very far. Like, I wasn't even to a point where they could start to give me leads. But then he kind of did that thing where he like cast a little doubt in my head, which I would call scorching the field when I'm doing that to a homeowner. But he did it so nicely.
Yeah.
And so he's like, man, if you ever start to smell smoke, just give us a call back, but maybe just give them a shot or whatever. And then literally the next day, they're like, hey, what do you want to use for your keywords? I was like, I was like, somebody burning something in here. And so I literally just called Joe back. And that's when I was just like, dude, Joe, I'm not using this other company. I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy I had that call with Joe, right? Because obviously it's just turned out like I'm literally going to make $100,000 this month. And so, so happy I was able to have that call with Joe for sure.
Walk us through what the beginning process of like the launch, onboarding with us, launching with us, getting your first, sort of walk us through that process. And what could somebody expect if they were, looking to work with us?
So I will say that first week where it's like, I still don't even really know how it works, but I guess there's like a first week where Google has
That's a ramp up period. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that first week when I did get a lead, I was like, oh God. Like, they closed me, I was like, oh shit, I'm not getting any leads yet. And so I remember messaging like, hey, I don't got any leads yet. And Lucas is like, dude, just chill out for a second. And, so I just was like, all right, you just don't know what you don't know. Right. Yeah. And so that first week, didn't get any. He's like, dude, you probably can expect some leads by like Thursday or Friday, whatever. And literally my first deal the first lead that I got, I closed. I called him the first day. It wasn't a one call, which is fine. Like, they're not all going to be like that, right? And sometimes they even go better, because I found sometimes when you one call close, they start having some of that buyer's remorse.
Seller's remorse
the next day. And so just let him think about it, talk to his wife. And then the next day they ended up signing. So the first lead that came in, closed it, $44K assignment, novation. But that's one of my biggest things I would say if they decide to go with y'all, is just like, don't panic that first week. That's just how I was.
Yeah.
But everything else super smooth. Like, I didn't even really realize at the beginning that we got a whole entire CRM with y'all. Like, I'm so like, and he probably said that on the call. I just am so ready to go balls to the wall all the time that I don't ask questions of like, okay, yeah, PPC leads, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And then I just jump in. But then the lead manager and a whole CRM and texting sequences, I was like, it was freaking awesome. I was like, I freaking love this. And your sequences work really good too.
My what?
That, like, the texting sequences.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's like a drip campaign, right?
Yeah, nurture sequences.
Yeah, whatever you call it. Again, I'm not the processes guy.
No, you're good.
I just call them.
Yeah.
But I'm like looking through my messages and they're responding so much. I was just like, dude, this is great.
Yeah.
And you provide all of it. So super, super awesome.
I don't know, Brett. Maybe if you just let me talk on the cell, because the funny thing I remember is that, because I remember when I got the text message from you where it was like, hey, I'm smelling smoke from this company. When can we hop on a call? And that was to Joe, but I obviously got the message as well. So I remember Joe put you on my calendar, right? Scheduled you on my calendar, and I remember hopping on. I remember it was like a 5-minute conversation. It was so like weird to me, right? I remember hopping on with you. I was like, hey, Brett, great to meet you. How'd the call go with Joe? You said it was good. And then I was like, cool. So my goal is to answer any of the questions or concerns you have. And then if everything makes sense, we'll get going. And then I was like, and you would just stay silent. And I'm like, so Brad, what questions do you have for me? And he's like, and you were like, oh, I'm just ready to get going. I was like, sweet, let's start it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I kind of left all that out for
Yeah,
sure.
so that to me was really funny. But talking about the wholesale side, what exit strategy? Are you only doing wholesale cash deals? Are you doing novation? Like, walk us through that.
Yeah, so the main tools I got on my toolbar right now are going to be, I mean, most of them, right? Like cash, doing novations, and then subject to. And then if I get like anything that has to be outside of that where it's more creative or like a seller finance, then I've found a few people throughout DFW where I'm just like, hey, this one is a little bit different than what we're used to working with. I have an in-house specialist or a really close partner that I can do custom solutions tailored exactly to you. When's a good time for me to connect you with them? And then I'm just setting an appointment for somebody that does seller finance deals. And then from there, I'm going to learn a little bit more on how to do that. But yeah, right now I have one of each closing. I got a novation closing. I got a subject to that just closed, on Wednesday. And then
How much
the rest are 15.
50,000?
15,000 for a subject to. So I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. That's the first subject to I've ever done. So
you've been with us for almost 2 months now? Is that correct?
yeah, right around that 2 months. Yeah.
Do you know how many deals you've contracted? So how many leads you've gotten, how many leads you've contracted, total assignment fees, etc.?
Yeah, I got a little roughly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm right around 7 to 8 contracts. I think 7 contracts, right around 50 leads or so. Out of those 7 contracts, I have 5 closing. This one just closed, so I got 4 closing. I got a big week next week, so 4 closing next week. That total 105,000 in assignments. Yeah.
Do you know how much you spent?
I spent I'm 6K a month ad spend, so about 12,000 in ad spend.
So you put in 12,000 to make how much?
105 grand. Yeah.
Do you know what the return on ad spend on that is?
That sounds about 10.
Pretty good.
10x. Yeah.
Okay, so it's good to hear that you're happy. One thing I want to highlight that I've noticed in everything you've done is that you're willing to go all in, right? You're like, burn the bridges, go all in.
For sure,
right?
Yeah.
You, like, for me, that's hard, right? Because I don't know, I have limiting beliefs, but like, how do you, like, what is your thought process before you cut things off and go all in on a certain opportunity?
It's funny you ask that because I'm like, I don't know if there is a thought process.
Oh.
I just like, I just know how I operate is that if I don't cut it off, then I'm not focusing enough attention on what I'm trying to go to, and so it's super hard for me to. I either have to be all in or not. Like I can't be 1 foot in the water, 1 foot out. But as far as like the thought process, we were kind of joking about it before we talk. I'm like, I'm just kind of a gunslinger out here, dude. Like, this sounds cool. Like, I'm just gonna go for it. And I do believe that if you go into something all in and you believe that there's gonna be a good outcome, like just like you got to think that way, right?
Yeah.
What is it? Do you think about what do you think about expands, or is that how it works?
Are you talking about the?
What you think about expands, like, so if you believe something's going to work out, like you start seeing more success in your life.
Oh, you're talking about the it's like a red car thing, right? Red car theory.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you see a red car, if you think about red cars, you see a bunch of red. I can't remember what the rule is called, but I think most people would know exactly what you're saying. But in addition to going all in, burning all the bridges, what other, I guess, beliefs or traits do you have that you feel make you successful?
I would say probably just comes back to my work ethic from just like a super young age. Like, so I come from a super small town, 5,000 people, small town, Minnesota, where I literally used to, like, when I was probably like 6 years old, we did a thing called, like, it's called pick and rock. And most people are like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's literally what it sounds like. I would get dropped off in a field and you start picking rocks, you throw them into like a tractor bucket, and then you go dump them. And basically what that does is when you come to harvest time, there's a bean head on a combine, and if there's big rocks in the field, it'll wreck it. And so they're anywhere from like 10,000. Don't even quote me on that because I can't remember. But super expensive equipment, right? And so just from a super young age, I was always doing like shitty jobs. Like literally, like I used to work in hog barns, chicken farms, all kinds of terrible jobs. So like having a work ethic like that, where I've always worked so hard doing like terrible jobs.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I can literally make money sitting in an apartment like in the AC.
Yeah.
So like just having that belief where I'm like, dude, I used to do such a terrible job before. Just it's just like super easy. Like it makes it's just a easier transition.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell all the guys that are in that construction is I'm just like, dude, you guys work so hard, 80 hours a week, and you know what you're going to make at the end of the month. I'm like, imagine if you put 80 hours a week into what I'm doing in sales.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. So I'm just like, I'm already working 80 hours a week. Why not work 80 hours a week where I don't have a ceiling on what I can make? And so I think that was really the biggest belief that I had, and really what's helped me be successful is just that blue collar, really work your ass off type work.
Yeah. Partnerships. Let's talk about that. How have you used leverage, or how have you leveraged partnerships in order to scale your wholesaling business?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something like I was talking about earlier too, where I've had a few small groups recently, and they haven't closed a deal yet, and they're still worrying like, what kind of contract do you use? What how do you find the buyers? Where do you get your leads from? How do you market? And my advice to them always is just figure out one thing that you're really good at, which for me was sales. To me, that was like the quickest way to get into wholesaling and get to where I'm at now. And then find somebody else that's good at it. So like, you don't have to know how to do Google ads. Like you can find you and you run my ads for me. Somebody that is like, you don't have to do trial and error with, you don't have to spend 20 grand to not get any leads or bad leads. Like you just go to you that's already has a track record and then get the good leads. And then from like a buyer side, like that's where I've partnered with Crown out of DFW. I'm like, I don't have a buyer's list. I don't know what that process looks like. Nothing. All I know is how to talk to people. And so I learned really quick that you don't know how to do everything. Like you can, like find the guy that knows how to do the creative finance deals, and then learn from them, partner with them, and then just get really good at one thing. And that's what's really had a lot of my success so quickly, I think.
I want to understand the process for you because you focus heavily on the acquisition side.
Yep.
We take care of the marketing. You take care of the acquisitions, which I define as getting the property under contract. But then you, I guess, outsource the dispo to somebody like Chris Crump, who I've had the privilege of meeting, or not meeting, but like having a conversation over the phone. Because I mean, every single time you get a property under contract, you post us, you tag him, and then you tag me, right? So I'm just like, man, I gotta figure out who this guy is, because if Brent's tagging us, then I guess we're both making money, right? So I was like, who is this guy? So you get a property under contract. What is that process that you go through to sell deals to him, or not sell deals, but partner with him?
Yeah, and this is where it's like somebody from the outside that's never done a deal before. It's like, dude, I would have no idea how to do this, right? Like, how do you find a buyer? What does that process look like? This is literally. It's as easy as I'm making it sound right now. I get the property under contract and I go, hey, Crump, I got one under contract. And he's like, okay, send it over. And then I wait for him to sell it. and I don't think into it any more than that. That's it. Literally just hand it to him. And then he lets me know when he has a buyer. And then in the meantime, I do have to do some of the like, damage control as far as like keeping the sellers under control. Like, hey, what's going on? We don't want to sell with you anymore. We just got an offer that's, $500 higher. So I got to handle some of that stuff, just make sure that I'm getting to the finish line in that sense. But everything else, like, I don't have to worry about it. Like he's got a TC, he's got everything else in order. So that's it really. I send him over the contract. I send him the pictures, and then he goes to marketing it for me.
People never talk about the bad side of wholesaling, right? You get people think it's as simple as calling leads on PropStream or some list software, calling them, getting them under contract, and then selling it, right? But you said something right there where it was, having to deal with sellers, manage expectations, sellers wanting to back out, go sell to somebody else for $500 extra. How do you go and navigate that with the seller?
So obviously there's a ton of different situations, but like in that example in specific, I mean, a lot of times if they're going for something $500 more, like they're in such a bad situation where it's going to be like, whether it's foreclosure or some sort of tax lien or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, like, look, Mr. Seller, once you take that offer for $500 more, somebody else is going to reach out to you, because I imagine you're getting called every single day, right?
Yeah.
I go, then the next person's going to offer you $500. Then the next person's going to offer you $500 more than that. I go, then before you know it, none of the title companies even have open title or clear title, clear to close. And you're foreclosing in 3 weeks I go, this is going to be a game of you possibly making an extra $1,000, or the worst case scenario is you lose your house. I go, how many times do you want to go through this process just to make an extra 1,000? And so it's just giving them peace of mind and really just like seeing the light of that extra $500 isn't what's gonna save them. So just opening their eyes, talking them through it, and really they just want to be heard. I think like they just want to be talked to and know that you're not scamming them, because a lot of this is all over the phone, right? They've never seen you face to face. They don't know who Amplified Closing is. You can't find me on Google anywhere. I don't got any reviews. So like you have to do it. They have a lot of faith in just the person on the other side of the phone.
You're a pretty good closer. What is your favorite one-line or closing technique, your sales process? Just a one-liner analogy that you like to use that has worked really well for you.
That's another good question. I would one thing that I use is the analytical approach, because a lot of people just want to get the most amount for their property, and there's like, I'll just use a realtor. So actually breaking down the numbers and then letting them know like, hey, we're not that far off. That works super well. And then really just like again, like one of those consequent questions, like what happens if you don't, right?
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of the people that I'm getting right now are in really such terrible situations that they just got to come to the realization that, hey, getting a little bit less for your property is way better than the worst outcome, which is losing it, ruining your credit, being on the street, whatever that looks like. So just let me help you, and let's avoid worst case scenario.
Gotcha. Can you walk us through your biggest deal?
Biggest deal was my novation recently, and that one, I wish I could make it sound like I was the top closer and it was like the hardest, rebuttal negotiation that I ever had to do, but it was really just as simple as it was the first lead that I got from you. When I talked to them, they're just like, look, we're not trying to make any money on this deal. And I was like, well, this is going to be a great conversation. right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is easy. And they go, we're trying to move to Arkansas in like 2 months. Our biggest thing is we don't want to have 2 mortgage payments by the time we get there. And so we're willing to let this thing go, pretty cheap, right? Just, we don't want to get stolen from us, but we're going to be pretty easy with this.
Yeah. And
so went through and I was like, okay, this will be a quick, easy cash deal. And so I offered them, I think the house ARV was like 275. House is in great condition. We call it a grandma house, which is like, they're in super good condition. They're just outdated, which make for great innovations. And so I anchored them at like 170, and then they turned it down. They're like, oh, that's just, like, I know, like, hey, I know we didn't want to make any money, but that's just like way too low. Yeah. And so then that's when I pivoted. I'm like, hey, great. Completely understand. A lot of people been in your same exact situation. I actually just helped somebody. I was just talking to somebody a week ago that was same exact situation as you, which is why we don't only have cash offers. We also have a concierge service where we can promote the property for you. Basically, as long as the number works for you, the way that we make our money is going to come from the buyer. And they said, okay, that sounds good. We weren't really planning on having people walk through the property, this, that, the other thing. And I go, look, I know this wasn't something that you were expecting. You were just looking for a cash deal. I'm like, I do think we can get you significantly more for this. So I go tomorrow, because he's like, well, this is something I have to talk to my wife with which if they're not, they're expecting a cash offer and not having to do the promoting thing. Like, I'm just like, yeah, that's not probably a smoke screen. That's like, he probably needs to talk it over with his wife about it.
Yeah. And
so I set the appointment for the next day, and I was able to give him $200,000 for the property with a novation offer, which he was asking like 220. So we basically just met in the middle. We were able to market it at 249 on the MLS. And we had offers within the first week, like full price and over asking. So basically we just went through the ones where there was no realtor fees. They weren't asking any concessions. And that's the offer we took. And that 249, I think we took with just closing costs, brought it out to like brought it down to a $44,000 assignment. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. You've done about 100K, or you have 100K set to close this month, right? What is the goal for the wholesaling? What numbers are you trying to hit? What is the exit or the end goal with the wholesaling, with amplified closings?
I mean, I'm pretty competitive, so when I hear you say your top guy's doing 400, I mean, I'd like to get to there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you feel like you're going to do it all yourself? Is the goal to build a team? Is the goal to step out of the business? What does that look like?
Yeah, at some point, obviously, I don't know how to scale. I'm still like I'm just a one man shop other than like you and Crump. But as far as like amplified closing, like it's just me there.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it's just going to be basically get to the point where I break on the leads, and then I'm going to call you guys and be like, what do I do now? Like how do I find my next acquisitions, guys? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And then basically, I guess from there, maybe that's a rinse and repeat, or maybe you got more insight for me on that than
Oh, yeah, we do. We'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned your goal was to get people from the blue collar space into something like real estate. Can I ask why you want to do that?
Yeah, so I got into, man, I could tell you stories about crazy stuff I did for hours. Probably not appropriate for on here. But you just get around some bad stuff. I mean, like,
Interesting.
have you ever seen the Landman? So I would say like it's pretty similar to that, but like they don't go into deep like stuff that you're actually around.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, everybody's doing drugs. I mean, you're working 180 feet in the air. People are freaking on meth or coke or
Wow.
it's insane. We're working like on electricity, 180 feet in the air, and you're just messed up, right? You're not even right in the head, and nobody knows how to save their money. Like you're making 15 to 20,000 a month. You're broke at the end of the month somehow. And I was just like, dude, this is what I'm destined for. Like you meet somebody that's 40 years old and there's guys asking me to borrow them money so they can go get groceries for their family. I'm like, dude, how does this guy making more money than me and been making it for 20 years, how is he broke still? So I'm like, if that's what I'm destined for, I need to get out of this. And so that's when I started researching like different real estate stuff. I got onto like a Grant Cardone course where he's always talking about doing like a 3-plex or 4-plex and put in 5% down. And I told a realtor that's what I wanted to do. Couldn't figure it out. I ended up buying an Airbnb, making some money off of it. And when I sold that, I was like, well, this is as good of chance as any to really try it, right? I had like 180 grand and I bought a bunch of rental properties and I'm like, I got the rest of this to figure it out. So just really had to get out of it. And I knew I was made for more. Like, I feel like everybody that does something like this, they deep down, they're like, dude, this isn't what I was made for. Right. Yeah. And so the goal now would just be to help some of these guys to get out of it. If they're feeling the same way, right?
Yeah.
If they're out there, or is this for, sorry, now I just messed up.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, if you're out there and you feel like you're made for more and you're sitting up in the bucket truck and you're going home to Christmas late and coming back early, like this is definitely something where I've been in your shoes and you could reach out to me and I can definitely help you on your path for sure.
Have you considered going to the people in the blue collar space and I guess recruiting them to become acquisition managers?
So I have, and so far I think that the people that I've reached out to aren't those people that are like they love it, right? A lot of people that are like, dude, I just love doing this. I'm just like
the electric stuff?
Yeah, they just like they love being outside, they love working with their hands, they love doing all that. And so I haven't really been able to get anybody out to join yet. And you just sometimes it's like what Jim Rohn says, like, why do some people do it and why do some people don't? And he's just like, don't take that class. He's like, some people will, some people won't. And my goal is just to reach the people that will, and I just haven't reached that audience quite yet.
The people in your small group, what about them?
So those have all been people that I picked up from Chris's events.
Chris Crump?
Yep. So he does an event the first Saturday of every month, and I'll go there and I just network. And there are just a lot of people that are, the various stuff, right? Nurses, whatever they're doing, just looking to make some extra money on the side. And so a lot of them, I'm just trying to help them get their first deal, whether they want to send me their lead and have me close them for them, or they just want to get some sales training and do it themselves. I'm just here to help them any way that I can as of now.
What's your purpose behind doing that? Like, are you doing it for, a bit of extra side money? Or are you doing it because you just want to help? If so, why?
Man, I know like how many nights I've just laid in my bed with my eyes open, wondering how I'm going to do this and not like be out onto the streets. and so if I can help people just cut those corners where like, dude, this is what I did that worked for me. This is what didn't work, or this is the path you should take. Like if I can do that, that's just really what I'm passionate about right now.
What do you feel like your purpose is in life?
Man, it's always just been, I think I've always just been so nice and wanting to help people. Like I just naturally, like anything I do to make somebody laugh or help them out, that's just how I've been my entire life. So I feel like like originally I kind of felt like that in power lines because I was like, oh, I'll be the guy that kind of comes in and helps these people get away from drugs. And then when you think that, and then I just became a part of it. Like I became a part of doing the stuff that they're doing, right? And that's when I was like, oh, this is not, like I said before, this is not what I was made to do, right?
Yeah.
So stepping into this and slowly becoming the man that I was supposed to be through sales, and like what Jim Rohn says, like before you can have, you have to become. Like you have to become the man that is worthy to make 100,000. Like if I made 100,000 7 years ago, I'd probably be dead.
Oh, wow.
You know, like I probably would have found myself in a strip club or like doing drugs somewhere and just like really messing up. So like you got to become the person first that can make that kind of money for sure.
What was that identity transition like, right? You said from the power line business, you were this person who you didn't want to be. Who did you have to become, and what were the steps that you took to become that person that is worthy of making $100,000 per month?
I think it was more so just getting away from the biggest thing was just getting out of that crowd of people. Like away from the people that have a negative outlook on life. They got a negative, like the world's out to get them. The politics is what's ruining their life. The family's what's ruining their life. They ended up in a bad marriage. Like everything they looked at is just negative. And when you're around that, that's what you turn into. And then I go from that, fast forward 6 months later, where I was talking about that dinner I was with like Robert and Naaman, and I'm brushing shoulders with people that like nothing ever bad happens. It's just like everything's a learning opportunity. So I think it's just getting around the right people was like really the biggest thing that turned me into who I am now.
Who do you feel like you have to become to step into, or what is the identity shift that you feel like you have to make in order to scale past where you're at right now?
That I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know what that even looks like right now, which is maybe not a good thing, or maybe because sometimes I don't even think I knew who I needed to be to get to this spot. But you just get into the right rooms, and just like through osmosis and like rubbing shoulders with the people that are already doing it, like it kind of seemed like it just happened. Like it didn't seem like I was, I wasn't doing the cold plunge at 4:00 in the morning every day, and then the sauna, and then all the stuff that you see on social media that they're like, you have to do these things.
Yeah.
But I just got around the people that were already doing what I wanted to do, and then I just replicated it. And then I don't know, I just think that's what's really been a big part.
What do you feel like is the best piece of advice that you've received just in the general business sense that has helped you become who you are today?
The best advice I ever got was super simple, which was from my grandpa. And I remember it like to this day, like it would give me chills, where I was doing, it was like 5th grade, go to school day with your grandparents. And it was like, ask your grandparents what's the best piece of advice you could give. And my grandpa just looked at me in such a sincere way, and he's just like, Brett, just be a good guy. And I don't know, it was so simple, but I've really just always been so nice to people. And he's always said, pay people well. And just like, cause he's like, when I would pick rock, I remember he would give me like $20 an hour, and then he'd take me up to Burger King after.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, $20 an hour? Like I'm making $8 an hour at the chicken farm right now. He's like, well, I might need you to come back and do it tomorrow. And so just the idea of if you're over giving to people, and you pay somebody well, or you treat them well, like they're more so like, man, like I can't believe Brett did that for me, or I can't believe this person did that for you. And then you build the relationships and you make the connections. And I feel like that just makes it so much easier to partner with people too, once you get that good reputation and they know you're a good guy. So I think that's been the biggest thing, being a good person. And then from there, just strategic partnerships, knowing I don't have to know how to do everything.
Okay. And do you feel like that mindset has helped you scale drastically?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to go into a business with somebody who's being an asshole, or like trying to skim deals on them, or like anytime I do something with a crump, any ever has, I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, however we got to get it done. I don't care. We'll split it more with somebody else, or this, that, the other thing. So just always having a positive mindset and knowing there's like an abundance of money, like that you have to be stingy with it, I think has been pretty cool so far, and learning stuff like that.
In your wholesaling business, what do you feel like has been the biggest lever you've pulled to unlock the most amount of profit, close deals, revenue, whatever you want to call it?
For me, it was sales, definitely. Like I think sales was like the biggest thing. That, and then finding your the leads, really.
Oh, okay.
Just like getting consistent leads, quality leads in, because you can be great at sales, and the leads that come in are just like average or like not where you want them to be, or I don't know. I've had so many lead gen companies where it's like you're the 10th person and this wasn't the right form that I felt like I didn't even fill out this form. And so you could have the best sales skills in the world, and those people, it's not the right person you're talking to. So the perfect storm is really just one, getting your sales down, and then get the leads to come in to close them. So those have been the biggest levers for sure.
Outside of business, what do you do in your personal life? For fun, hobbies, what does that look like for you? Or you just work like me?
Yeah, I feel like I just work right now.
Okay.
I mean, I do like to go to a nice restaurant or something, have a drink, whatever. I used to go hunting all the time. That was something that was really big, or ice fishing. So those are some things that I used to like to do for a pastime. But once I moved down to Texas, really just turned into a grind. So I haven't really done a lot of that stuff.
Is your plan to stay in Texas forever? Settle down here?
I think so. I've been on here for about 10 years now. So
okay.
Yeah, I moved down when I was about 20. So.
Okay. What are your personal goals in life?
I would say, man, like right now, I feel like as far as the why goes, is like right now I'm just trying to build a good life to where when I do meet the right person to settle down with, like everything's just good, right? Like I don't have to worry about, not being able to put my kid into a good school, or like if they want to go travel, or you know what I mean? Like I don't want money to ever be an issue for that. So family wise, I would say that I always want to be well off when I get into that situation. And then the other thing too, I think a personal goal would be was, again, just going back to helping some of the blue collar guys get out of that rat race, and showing them that there's more than just going to the club and making enough to drink on the weekends, and maybe just having a nice vehicle. Like you can truly help people like with that work ethic. So
gotcha. Do you do anything fun with your money? Do you go? I mean, I see you have a pretty nice watch on, so I'm assuming you're a watch guy.
Honestly, I'm not really. I don't really know anything about them. I just kind of pick them out from like the guy. There's actually a guy for work. His name's Gunner.
Gunner, what's his last name?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Morgan?
McCullough. But I've worked with him through Certified, and now at the roofing company. But he just kind of tells me everything about the watches. I don't really know a whole lot about them. They look nice. So.
Yeah, it does. It's a nice watch. Okay. Going back to the business, right? Is the plan to wholesale forever? What do you plan on doing after that? 5 years, 10 years? Where do you feel like you'd be at?
I've always told myself I wanted to get into like the apartment game, where owning multiple units, like couple hundred doors, or I don't need to be like a freaking billionaire or nothing, but enough to where if I could
be nice though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It probably would be. I don't know. I might, if I had that much money, I don't know. Maybe I don't think I'm that man yet to where I could handle $1 billion. But I think just enough to where, I don't know. I've always said if I could just have something where I make enough money to where the returns on it made me like $500,000 a year, or at least financially, like if that's what we're talking about. If I could get to that point where I'm just like kind of completely stepped out, and then that's the life I can live, like I think it's like a lifestyle, business is kind of what I want. Yeah.
So you're saying your number right now is $500,000 a year, sort of somewhat passive, that you can come in to take care of your lifestyle. Do you feel like once you hit that, you're going to be like, damn, can I hit $1 million?
Probably, yeah. I don't think it'll ever probably feel like it's enough, to be honest. Okay. Yeah. As of right now, to me, it sounds good in theory, but we'll see how it turns into.
You mentioned you wanted to go into multifamily properties. How does what you're doing right now of wholesaling help you transition into doing multifamily in the future?
So, I mean, as of right now, it's just since I don't know what I don't know, right? It's just like make that money making machine to where I have some capital to invest in something like that. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just the relationships that you make along the way. So like, just like the dinner I had a few months ago with Crump and some guys, there's a guy that did creative finance. And I think that's probably a huge part in getting these apartment complexes is, how do you get them to seller finance to you? What rates? How do you find the money for it? So I think wholesaling is just like the good gateway into getting in and meeting these guys, building the relationships to where you learn how to do that.
Gotcha. When it comes to building relationships, especially in any business, whether it's personal or professional, it's one of the most important things. I'm sure you would agree, right? So how do you go about finding people to actually build relationships with? And how do you maintain those relationships where both parties win?
Yeah, so I think like even like with Crumb, I don't. It's so I feel like
Is his real last name Crump?
Oh man, don't.
He has such a cool.
I know, I know him for like 3 months now. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, do I even know your last name?
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's his real last name.
yeah. I was just thinking about it. Anyways,
Um, I think I've always had a good, like, just intuition on when I meet somebody. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like I've just always had that.
mm-hmm.
And the first, like, I'm telling you, the first phone call I had with Crump, I was just like, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, this is the guy. Like, I just knew. And like, he was so nice.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just like, kind of like what I was talking about before, where I'm just like, do whatever you think, or to like obviously to within reason, but anytime he's brought something up, or any way we can figure out how to make each other more money or whatever that looks like we've just been like so communicative about that, so it's been easy to maintain a relationship.
I remember, yeah, like I said, I remember speaking to him for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We were on for like an hour and a half or something, and he was like, yeah, man, I mean, you're making me a lot of money. You're making Brent a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, this is awesome. So I was like, yeah, I like this guy. Right. So, okay. If you were to start all over again, right, and if somebody's watching this, they are in a position where you started, where they were doing some sort of blue collar work, what would you tell them?
Dude, I would say stop buying the new trucks, stop buying the new car, or like the new boats.
Mm-hmm.
Like all you're doing is financing them, building a $500,000 payment on all this stuff, and just save that money. If you can, literally, if you can just get 20 to 30 grand in an account somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and give it over to Ben to start running some leads and make sure you have a runway, like literally, because I think like so many people, they get scared to spend money on the leads.
Mm-hmm.
But then they will use that money as like living expenses while they cold call or something. Mm. And then so they're just letting all that money drain, and to figure out it doesn't work and they can't do it very fast. And they're like, oh shit, now I don't have any money to do PPC if I wanted. Mm. And so if I could start over, I wouldn't have bought any nice stuff. I would have just lived way below my means, saved up the bank account to where you can take a chance on something. Mm. And so I think that's where, like, if I was in that situation where I had another job that was paying me pretty well, just save the money the best you could, and then make sure that way you have the runway to try something different. You don't like lock yourself into that slave 9 to 5.
Gotcha. Many wholesalers, I should say, have worked with a bunch of other marketing companies, right?
Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you feel like makes us different from everybody else, and as a marketing agency?
One, the consistency. So far, I've just been consistently getting good leads. I've had campaigns through a few different PPLs where I was just like, oh, this is the one, right? Mm-hmm. And then I've had like $10,000 to $15,000 I spent where I don't get any deals. I'm just like, oh God, And so for this to consistently get good ones has been great. And then on top of that, just like the service you provide with it, as far as a lead manager, a CRM, like texting sequences, just everything you offer with it is just amazing. So
in your opinion, Brent, based off of your experience with us, what would you tell somebody who's hesitant about working with someone like us because they've been burned by other agencies in the past?
Man, I would say just do it. Like I know that's like, I feel like kind of cliche, and it's easy to say sitting over here, but I've done the other lead companies, like, and I've worked in acquisitions where I've seen all the other leads, like all the ones that everybody talks about, like Speed to Lead and Zolos and just everything. Like I've seen all of them, like Facebook and TikTok, and we've done all of them. And then I went to this where there's just nothing that's been so consistent in the lead quality. So I mean it's tough. Like I know like it's a lot of money, but like I literally like six or 7 months ago, I just maxed out a credit card to say, go all in and let's do this thing. So sometimes it's just a matter of just saying, just do it,
I appreciate it. Brett, where can people find you?
Yeah, find me on Instagram. It's just Brett_Erickson. So just my name. You can find me there.
Are there any final words that you would want to share with the viewers? It could be anything.
Man, I would say if you've just been on the fence of whether like wholesaling is real and if you can and you can make it work, like I feel like you always hear everybody on the podcast just say like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Yeah. And I just feel like that. Like I literally built power lines for 8 years where I was just like, never felt like, I was like some sort of genius or anything like that. And I thought wholesaling was illegal. Man, just give it a shot. And, make the right partnerships along the way. Reach out to me, reach out to anybody you're seeing. And I mean, it works.
Brent, I really appreciate you sharing the knowledge and wisdom you did based off of your experience. And obviously, I'm very flattered and very happy to see not only me, but the entire team of the results and the money you've made wholesaling. So if you are watching this and you enjoyed having Brent and listening to Brent share what his experience is, obviously working with us, scaling his own wholesaling business, and you got value out of it, please don't forget to like, comment any questions you have, as well as reach out to Brent. And finally, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Again, my name is Benjamin, CEO and founder of Bolt Deals, and I will see you in the next one.